Apron Management Service, a service provided to regulate the activities and the movement of aircraft and vehicles on an apron. Balked landing, a landing maneuver that is unexpectedly discontinued at any point below the obstacle clearance altitude or height. Identification beacon, an aeronautical beacon emitting a coded signal by means of which a particular point of reference can be identified. Landing area, that part of a movement area intended for the landing or takeoff of aircraft. Landing direction indicator, a device to indicate visually the direction currently designated for landing and for takeoff. Marker, an object displayed above ground level in order to indicate an obstacle or delineate a boundary. Marking, a symbol or group of symbols displayed on the surface of the movement area in order to convey aeronautical information. Near parallel runways, non-intersecting runways, whose extended center lines have an angle of convergence or divergence of 15 degrees or less. Obstacle, all fixed, whether temporary or permanent, and mobile objects or part thereof that are located on an area intended for the surface movement of aircraft or extend above a defined surface intended to protect aircraft in flight or stand outside those defined surfaces and that have been assessed as being a hazard to air navigation. Obstacle-free zone or OFSI. The airspace above the inner approach surface, inner transitional surfaces, and balked landing surface, and that portion of the strip bounded by these surfaces which is not penetrated by a fixed obstacle other than a low-mass and frangible mounted one required for air navigation purposes. Outer main gear wheel span, or OMGWS, is the distance between the outside edges of the main gear wheels. Road refers to an established surface route on the movement area meant exclusively for the use of vehicles. A road holding position is a designated spot where vehicles may be required to hold. Runway end safety area, or RESA, is an area symmetrical about the extended runway center line and adjacent to the end of the strip. It's primarily intended to reduce the risk of damage to an airplane undershooting or overrunning the runway. Runway guard lights are a light system intended to caution pilots or vehicle drivers that they are about to enter an active runway. A runway holding position is a designated position intended to protect a runway and obstacle limitation surface, or an ILS, MLS critical or sensitive area. At this position, taxiing aircraft and vehicles shall stop and hold unless otherwise authorized by the aerodrome control tower. The runway turnpad is a defined area on a land aerodrome adjacent to a runway. It's specifically designed for the purpose of completing a 180-degree turn on a runway. Runway visual range, or RVR, is the range over which the pilot of an aircraft on the center line of a runway can see the runway surface markings or the lights delineating the runway or identifying its center line. A safety management system, often abbreviated as SMS, is a systematic approach to managing safety. This includes the necessary organizational structure, accountabilities, policies, and procedures. Segregated parallel operations refer to simultaneous operations on parallel or near parallel instrument runways. In these operations, one runway is used exclusively for approaches, while the other runway is used exclusively for departures. The shoulder of a runway is an area adjacent to the edge of a pavement. This area is so prepared as to provide a transition between the pavement and the adjacent surface.